What's up? It's Joel from Joel Does Music, and I'm here with one of the very first bands that I discovered in the new year, 2024. I really believe that this is a band that you need to keep on your radar because hot damn, they're brand new. They have two singles out, and they freaking slap. I got through Jarrow Brothers. I got Jim and Anthony. What's up, guys?
How are you? How are you? How are you? Thanks for having
Good.
us.
Yeah, my pleasure. I'm very happy that I pronounced your last name correctly because, like I said before we started recording, I was trying to figure out is it Ruggiero or Ruggiero? And I'm sure back in school, everyone mispronounced it. So I feel like I'm an honorary Italian.
You hit the nail on the head with that one.
100%.
Every single person who tried to pronounce it has pronounced it improperly. So you nailed it.
Awesome. Thank you guys. Well, once again, thank you guys for hopping in this call. Really, I just want to promote your music, get the word out there because these songs are just amazing. And you guys formed the band, The Attachments, very late last year. So I want to get right into it. Your history as musicians, because like you guys, I'm also a musician. I played in the local Jersey scene since I was a teenager, working in radio, just trying to be familiar with the history of it and all that. So let's get into who Jim and Anthony are. So I'll start off with you, Jim, because you were in a local band called Misery Loves Company. And that was a very different genre compared to what the Attachments are coming out with. So what made you decide, you know what? Let's go into pop punk, pop rock. How did you and Anthony decide, you know what? Let's get into a band together. Let's do pop punk.
Well, we've done music in the past together.
Yeah. We grew up playing music. I mean, when I was 15, he was probably 16 and a half, 17, we first started playing together. And I mean, we played together for years in local bands and putting stuff together. And eventually, like right out of high school, we put a band together and we signed a deal and we toured around the country. And that was fun. That lasted a little bit. And then we just, kind of did different things. I went and worked on the road with some bands. Jim did Misery Loves Company, as you said. And then about 2.5, 3 years ago, we just started hanging and writing music again. And we're like, let's just write and see what happens. So, kind of push through everything. We wrote for like 2 years and we're like, if we have something we want to put out, we'll put it out. But, until then, we're just going to write for fun. We had both kind of taken a break from writing for a long time. And we're like, it's something we have the desire to do. And ultimately, art is something that everyone's going to want to share. You create something, you want to share it with people, but we wanted to make sure that we were writing something that we wholeheartedly believe in and that we enjoy before anyone else. We wanted to sit there and go, if this is not your cup of tea, that is totally cool because it's ours. We like this. And, it took some time. We wrote a whole record, scrapped it. We have many demos sitting around that we just didn't use in all various different directions. And I think the goal was that we didn't want to write one thing. I think, our favorite bands are bands that are very diverse, bands like The Used in 1975, just bands that kind of don't stick to one thing, they just kind of write good songs and a good song is a good song. So that's kind of the way we wanted to approach it. We didn't want to write, we actually wrote a whole very straightforward pop punk record and we're like it, but it's just one thing. We want everything. So we took the time, started from scratch again. And, probably last year wrote the songs that you've heard so far and, recorded them here in this apartment. We have a very talented drummer friend that lives over in the UK and he tracked drums for these. And yeah, we had a friend, Lee Rouse. And yeah, that's where we are today.
Wow, that's amazing. And I love that you guys, you're not just sticking to one genre, you're not saying, let's keep it with pop punk and emo. It's what's hot. It's a trend. No, because of both of your musical backgrounds, it's so rich in diversity. That's what I really love, especially you, Anthony. You were in Heart of Gold, which is very much a synth pop, synth rock band, kind of similar to 1975. And then with Jim, obviously Misery Loves Company, post-hardcore, kind of similar to metalcore. So there's a whole lot of diversity. And I love that we're getting more music at some point. I really love it, guys.
Yes. With all that being said, our tastes are very similar. We grew up on the same stuff, Blink,
Blink's in the center, yeah.
Yeah. We grew up on virtually the same things, but as we've gotten older, our tastes, not only do we enjoy the same things, but we love completely separate things as well. Mm-hmm. There's so many artists that Jim shows me and I'm like, I've never heard this record, never even heard of the band, and vice versa. And I think that's what attributes to the sound itself. It's never going to be something. And you'll notice that with every song that comes out from us. I mean, we have plenty of songs that are recorded, ready to come out, already, planned to be released. And none of them are the same direction. They're all different.
Oh man, I love it. So let's go into the first two singles that you guys released, kind of served as an introduction to who the Attachments are. So the first single that came out obviously was The Worst. Why did you guys decide that was the first single to come out with right out the gate?
The release, so without spoiling it too much, we have a collection of songs right now. And we looked at all of them and we said, all right, how do they make us feel? What's our first impressions? We took so many different things into account. And I think at the end of the day, The Worst was it was actually the first song that we finished of the collection. And on top of that, it just felt like the most palatable song. It felt like very digestible, to almost anyone who hears it. But it also wasn't something that just felt, I don't know,
like a normal single.
Yeah, it didn't feel like a normal single. It felt a little bit off. And so the plan was, Old Shoes is definitely a typical single, at least structure and sound wise. So we were like, all right, let's do something a little bit weird for the first song, single material for the second one. And then the third one's going to be, all hands off. But yeah, that was kind of the thinking was, it's a bit weird. It sets the tone for something different. And that's what we wanted. We didn't want to come out with just a single that sounds like a pop punk band or a pop band. We wanted to show some character, and that's going to be a main theme throughout everything that we release, moving forward.
Yeah, what really struck me about The Worst is that, it has that 2000s pop punk sound, but you guys aren't trying to fall into that whole TikTok trap that you see. Obviously, it's kind of oversaturated, but you hear kind of a pop rock element too. Like, I don't know if you guys noticed it when you were writing it, but I heard kind of bits from Neon Trees, Hello Goodbye, All American Rejects, Plain White Tees. I'm sure you guys have gotten that comparison to Plain White Tees. So there is that rich palette that you guys were talking about. And I think that's what really separates you guys from just your standard TikTok, Instagram, pop punk band, really.
Sure,
thank you.
Sure. Yeah, I appreciate that. I think not trying to come off any sort of way, but like we're just trying to be authentic. You know what I mean? Like, not like we're trying to be different. I mean, you can't write a new note or a new progression or a new melody that hasn't been done. You're not going to come up with things that haven't been written, but what's real to you. And I think it was a journey to find what hits us as deep as possible. Like, how deep can we get with ourselves? And if that's cheesy to someone else, the thought or the sound or whatever, so be it. But as long as it feels real to us and hits us, that's the goal. So like by the time these songs came out, like without sounding cheesy even further, the goal has already been met. We created something that we were proud of, that we really, really, believe in, that we're excited about, and to share it is just, it's a treat.
Icing on top.
Yeah.
I love that. Perfect. So being in a band with siblings, I'm sure it can have, its difficulties at times, but this is probably the first time I've spoken to a band that was full on just a band of siblings. In this case, a band of literally brothers. And since you guys have written together since you were kids, disagreements have probably, popped up, arguments. How do you guys squash those disagreements? Do you compromise, or do you think, all right, listen, we need to find a solution that we can both agree on 110%? What do you guys do typically?
I think it's whatever's best for the song. At the end of the day.
Yeah.
We don't care about each other's opinions that much. When it comes together, we're like, all right, this is a good song. It's a good song.
Yeah. I mean, ultimately it's communication. Yeah. I think,
we got all that out of our system too.
Yeah. Growing up, but I think anything can be solved with communication. I mean, if there's something where, say he feels strongly about a part and I don't typically feel, that strong about it, I can voice, hey, here's why, and here's a recommendation. Here's something else that we can do. It's for the betterment of the song. We want to write, the best music that we can. And, like we said, there's no, not to be ironic, but there's no like attachment to each little thing that we're doing. The goal is to be attached to the whole. You know what I mean? the product, the song at its core, that's what we want to be attached to, not just a single note, a single this. I mean, all those fine details and every single thing that goes into it, every single note, every frequency is intentional on our end, whether it's a mess up intentional or not. Everything is there for a reason. So that's our approach to it. But yeah, I mean, little things will happen here and there, but there's nothing that's, at least in our adult lives, that we've been like, all right, I'm leaving, man.
As far as this stuff, no.
God, if only bands who had like siblings could take a page out of your book. You guys make it look easy being in a band with your sibling, whether it's a brother or a sister. If only Oasis found out about you guys, they could have not broken up 15 years ago. That would have been great, honestly.
Yeah, one of his favorite bands. I mean, I love them too. She's Electric. Yeah, I mean, I think it takes personal growth. I think in anything, to succeed in anything that you're doing, especially with someone else, you need to know how to communicate what you're feeling, what you're thinking. And it is a challenge every single day to do stuff like that, whether it's with a writing partner or, a girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever, colleague, that the strength and the power in good communication is I feel, often not realized fully. So, yeah, it's not something we ever stray away from, just putting stuff out on the table and saying, hey, here's our goal. Let's not, we're feeling a little one way or another about it, let's talk about it.
Yeah. And honestly, communication, you would think it's such an easy thing to do. Just communicate how you feel. If you disagree with a part of a song, or when it comes to, promoting yourself as a band, you have disagreements, bands, especially like when we were teenagers, of course, it's your first band, you're passionate about it. You don't think about communicating. You're thinking, oh, you know what? Let me consider how they feel. It's just get to the point on how you feel. It's just me. But you guys really do take the mature approach, because obviously you guys are veterans. You've learned through the years, but it just sucks how other bands don't know how to properly communicate. It's such an easy concept, It
really is. And I mean, not only do you learn that from being in bands with people, strangers, siblings, whatever, even working with other bands, I spent a couple of years working on the roads with different bands, and you can learn a lot just by having your ears and your eyes open, and you go, okay, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that.
It's a lot of that.
And so when we came approaching this and putting this thing together, I was like, oh, I've watched a bunch of my friends make terrible decisions, so I'm not going to do that. Not to point fingers, but like,
right.
Let's just be real. Let's just be us. Let's not try and be rock stars. Let's just approach this from the heart. And, if people like it, people like it. But if we don't like it, this whole thing's pointless. Yeah. Like, what are we doing?
It's all about authenticity. That's the big word. And I think that's something that's kind of missing too nowadays. Again, I'm not pointing fingers, but when you look on social media, you just see an oversaturation of bands who are trying to become the next big thing, trying to capture your attention span within 30 seconds or less. You see those cringe posts on TikTok that are like, did we just write the next big pop punk banger? Stuff like that. And I feel like it is missed. What's your guys' take on that?
It's something that we are
very conscious of.
very, very
we're aware of it.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing: is like, what you're saying, how it makes you feel. I mean, not only does it make us feel that way, it probably makes a lot of people feel that way. And sure, there is a market and an audience for that, and that's cool. That's for the rock stars. Go be rock. Like, I mean, we're not trying to do like, you know what I mean? Like, we're letting the universe do its thing, and I'm not cool personally with doing something like that. That's me.
Feels weird.
Yeah, it's cheapening.
It's not what we want to do.
It's not real. Like, we wouldn't do that. We wouldn't. I mean,
nothing against those.
Yeah, not to bash. It's just it's fine. And it like to say like, if I was managing bands saying, okay, like maybe you should do this. Maybe this is the thing you're going for. Fine, but just because it's right for you doesn't mean it's right for us. And not saying we're going to stay off like that platform or doing fun things entirely, but I think at the end of the day, it's like, all right, would we do this on our own? Is this something we want to do? Sure, we'll do it. But like, we've never been ones to jump on trends by any means. Like, things come up and things go down, and it's like, I don't have evidence of me doing dumb things throughout my life, so that's why I stay away from trends.
Yeah, no, honestly, this is a smart strategy. I mean, it's very refreshing hearing both your opinions on it, because nowadays with social media, and especially being in 2024, we're playing kind of the numbers game. And I've spoken about this to a few other bands. you guys, it's very DIY. You're cognizant too of what doesn't work for you guys, what does work, what you know you don't want to approach. And it's so damn refreshing hearing it from you guys. I'm not trying to suck up, but I genuinely mean it. It's like, whoa, you guys are against this stuff. It's just all about authenticity, putting out music that comes straight from the heart, that you like, that you've written, you spent so many hours working on and refining. It's just, it blows my mind, guys, seriously.
Simple concept.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, like we said about, a sound, how we want to approach the sound, Motion City soundtrack, like they're not going to be pigeonholed to one thing, but you're not going to see bands like that doing, things like we're discussing. They're just not going to. And I mean, for whatever reason it is, that's fine. That's their character, but that's just what we feel inclined to not do. We don't want to do those things. And, like I said, nothing's really off the table, but unless it feels right to us, we're okay.
We literally just talked about this the other day.
Yeah, there's so many people doing it.
Comes up a lot,
Yeah, I mean, if there's already 100,000 bands trying to do the same thing,
exactly,
then why are we going to make a video with the same song, talking into a microphone, making love to the camera with our eyes? It's like, dude, we're get that all over your feed. We're here to write some music, and we're going to put some visuals to it. There's an argument for like. I think that the in thing now is to not do videos. This to do cell phone videos and everything. Yeah. Let's flip. We want to tell stories. We're doing our next video on Saturday, and if I was to tell you how much hair I've been pulling out of my head, I mean, he can tell you about putting this thing together. I mean, it's going to be a trip, but it's like I have, if you see something, you want to create it, and it's like that's the joy. You know what I mean? And I'm not focused on how many plays it's going to get on YouTube. Like I don't care. It did 100 plays, but like if I create something I'm proud of, that's what I want.
Yeah, you've already won.
Yeah.
Damn, spoken like a true poet, Anthony. I gotta give it to you, man. Holy hell. Thank you. So going more into your background and the years that you guys have been musicians, I myself, whenever I played from high school and college and then so on, of course, played shows, learned lessons through my years of being a musician on what not to do, what to do, or going forward, I should use this approach, or I should be more mindful of this. What would you say for both of you guys, because you're well seasoned, what is the biggest lesson that you guys have learned in your years of playing shows, traveling the world, writing music? What's the biggest lesson, and how have you applied it today?
No expectations.
Yeah, not to be redundant, but like no expectations and being true to yourself. I mean, in anything, inside music, outside music, just in life. I mean, if you're not you, if you can't love yourself, if you can't be yourself to everyone, you're cheating yourself of living. And I think that also is applied to art. I've created, my whole 100%. Life art, and I'm 1000% guilty of creating something that wasn't filled with heart and passion and joy.
Same.
And did it feel empty? Absolutely. Cool songs, hooks, great, but what's the substance? I'm not getting anything from it. So that's why there was a pause in doing this for a while. And then we said, hey, if we're going to do this, let's apply everything we've learned over the years and just do it right. And take our time with it, put it all together. And then when we're ready, give it out to the world. And if people enjoy it, people enjoy it. And if no one discovers it, no one discovers it.
So be it.
Wow. It really is just no expectations whatsoever with you guys. And again, keyword here, refreshing, because you really don't hear bands that often say, no expectations. We just want to put out art that means a whole lot to us. Is that kind of the reason why it's just you guys in the band and not any other members? Because this just works for the both of you when it comes to putting out music. You're both on the same page, or is the goal eventually to include more members, especially when you guys do shows eventually?
For us, we didn't know what we wanted to do. And I think it was like, one, it's easiest to sit here with us two going,
less
okay,
cooks in the kitchen.
Yeah, less cooks in the kitchen for sure. And then, we are a bit older now. So it's like, we're not going to be able to just go out and find a whole group of people to come in and do this, especially without us knowing what it was. And I think now that we've kind of figured out what it is, we've started putting music out. We're very, very okay with having it just be us two for right now. You know what I mean? We don't have any plans of adding members or anything like that. I will say, if and when live stuff does happen, we will be having a solid drummer behind us, and that will be probably that. It'll probably be a Blink-182 situation. But yeah, it's I don't see us doing a full band ever. Yeah.
Wow. I'm shocked. Holy hell.
Oh, we've done it twice already.
Yeah, we've done it plenty of times. You know, and it's hard to get, you know, I think if we had a foundation of friends, you know, in the area that we could, you know,
Knew that they were as passionate as us.
yeah, and it's not even just that, just even just you know, one-on-one, the human connection with people, you know, again, we're so passionate about it that, you know, to bring in people, we'd really want to be connected to them, attached to them, you know what I mean? Like, and not just like, oh, you mess with this music as much as we mess with. No, like, we want to have that friendship. Like, the guy we had playing drums for us, his name's Jake. He's one of my best friends. You know, he's one of the most talented drummers in the world. And, you know, part of why this came together the way it did is because he's involved as well, recording these drums. You know, there was excitement, there was life, there was, you know, he put something into these as well. So, you know, like, I think that's what it is just follow the feeling. You know, what's making us feel alive, follow it. You know, and hey, you know, let's say 10 years down the line, we're Foo Fighters level. Yeah, we're probably gonna need a couple backup players.
Most likely, yeah.
You know, we'll figure that out when we get there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. Man, well, if you think about it, it's like if you're applying for any job, of course, the employer wants to find the right candidate. And for you guys, you know, it was always about, you want to make sure, like you said before, the connection is right. You want that organic chemistry, nothing that's felt forced, because any musician can tell you, oh, back in high school, it was just all about jamming with your neighbor or your friend who you had multiple classes with after school in the garage, banging it out, playing local shows at the Meat Locker and the Chance in Poughkeepsie. I'm just listing out random venues here. But that's what it was for us when we were teenagers. But like you were saying before, and I really think it's a valuable point, when you get older, it's more about people that you can share common goals with, that you like the same music with, that are committed to achieving that goal with you. It's all about that. It's not about just finding a friend. You want to find people who are like-minded.
Yeah, it's part of the process. It's what goes into it. You know, what you put out. That's so true with music. And you know, I've been part of writing sessions. I've been, you know, helped other bands write music, and I've seen the lack of care, lack of emotion, lack of passion, or anything at all. And yeah, again, use that as saying, hey, let's not do that. Let's pour ourselves into this. If it takes time, it takes time. No rush. You know, like, it is what it is.
Yeah, for sure. So being that it's 2024, I mean, first off, thank you guys for listing all those valuable points. Again, probably the most refreshing band I've ever spoken to, because I thought I was kind of the only one who kind of had those thoughts like, oh, where's the authenticity? Not falling into the TikTok trap or the social media rabbit hole. But wow, like-minded musicians right here. So going into this new year, you have new music in the back burner. You have demos of various genres. What are some goals for this year? What do you guys want to execute in 2024?
Probably an album.
Yeah, I mean, well, so we'd like our first proper release to come out, which is going to come out within the next few months. I'd ideally like to play a show if we can, even if it's just one show, a New York City show. We'll see how it goes. But yeah, continue to write music that excites us, to continue working on things. I mean, we literally have a new song up on the screen right now. You know, we're constantly working. You know, it's pushing it forward, seeing where we can take things, seeing where we can go with the art, and whether it's the visual or the audio sense. You know, it's all exciting, and I think that I'll speak just for myself. It's lit such a fire in my life, you know, putting this thing together, and it's really been kind of like a bucket list thing to do something not only that I'm so proud of, you know, with music, but be able to do it with my brother. Is like, it's you know, I'm not religious, but it's a blessing. It really is. Yeah, I mean, everything about it we've enjoyed so far, and you know, I just keep enjoying it. You know, to keep having fun, and to be able to, you know, connect with people. You know, if other people are connecting with the music, it's the coolest thing in the world. You know, it really is.
Yeah, absolutely. And you should add to your list of goals, play at Starland Ballroom, because I hope to hell you guys perform there at some point. Your music is so good.
We've seen quite a few shows there. I mean, I've been.
I love that
times.
venue.
Yeah, we saw Motion City there, like a year and a half ago.
Yeah, saves the day.
Save the day. Yeah, I mean, there's so many great shows we've been to there. But yeah, that would be a goal, and that's actually one venue in Jersey I've never even played. I've worked there. I've never played there. Yeah, so that would be a big goal. 2024, the attachments at Starland. Let's do it.
There you go. Who would you want to open for?
Honey. Yeah, Honey's great. Love water parks. Love Motion City soundtrack. They're constantly on tour these days now, which is awesome. If Cartel does like an anniversary tour, would love to do some Cartel. Yeah. And I say anniversary, they kind of called it, but now they're back. I think
so. Yeah.
But classic band and one of my all-time favorites. Some of the best songwriters. The Used would probably be at the top.
Yeah,
of my
there's
list.
so many.
If I could ever do anything with The Used, that would be, Bert's the only person I've ever asked for a photo with. He's like just the level of like artist that he is and genius. And I think everything that band stands for is just fantastic and beautiful. So I would play with them. Yeah. Or Blink.
Jim, Anthony, thank you guys so much for taking time to speak with me. Honestly, this was just a conversation full of so much insight, passion. I could feel it in your music. You guys are just two wholesome dudes, and I really love it. Thank you guys so much.
Joel, it was an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for having us on. And dude, seriously, thank you for giving our music the time.
Yeah, seriously.
I mean? Beyond excited that you like it. But it's even more that you've acted on, reached out, and set this up. It's awesome, and we appreciate you taking the time, dude. Seriously, and let's grab a coffee at some time since you're like literally 15 minutes away from us.
Yeah, I just can't believe it. All these years I've been by you guys. I probably passed by you like before we started recording. Probably passed by you at Warped Tour, at a show in Starland, for all I know. Didn't even recognize you guys.
Well, now we know our names, and we know your name, so
yep.
We're going to be keeping an eye out for you, bud.
Oh, hell yeah. Well, guys, again, thank you so much. For anyone watching who wants to follow you, kind of get to know you on a personal level on social media, where can they follow you?
Just search The Attachments. It's kind of slightly different on everything. The Attachments Music, The Attachments One on Twitter. Just search The Attachments. You'll find it. You'll come across it. If you got to do a little bit of digging, do the digging. It's worth the elbow work,
Fair enough. Cool. Jim, Anthony from The Attachments, thank you guys so much. I'm going to end it with how I end every show. Much love and good vibes. And we'll definitely hang out at some point soon because we're 15 minutes away. So definitely.
Peace and love, brother.
Peace and love.
All right. Take care, guys. Have a good one.